What's up, everyone? How are you doing tonight? Welcome back to another weekly live stream here on Celtics Digest. I am your host, Bruce Veliz, and it's Wednesday, so you guys know we go live every single Wednesday and look back at all the Celtics news and games that happened in the previous week, and also look forward to the Celtics in the future. You guys have been absolutely fantastic, showing your love and support. So let us know what you guys ultimately think down below in the comment section. If you have any questions, we'll get to some questions as well. But like I said, we're going to be going over this Boston Celtics team in a pretty fun live stream, and I hope you guys really do enjoy it. Without further ado, let's dive into it and let's get into the content as we look at this Boston Celtics team. And last week, they prepared for this Western Conference road trip, and we saw them obviously beat the Warriors on MLK Day, but then they had 3 more games. My prediction was that they were going to go 3-1 on that Western Conference road trip, and they did exactly what they did there. And they went and hit my prediction, going 3-1. Like I said, beating the Warriors, and then the second game took on the Los Angeles Clippers. And as we all know, this game went to overtime, was a little bit of a disaster clash at the end, but the Celtics came guns a-blazing out of overtime, and the main story out of this Clippers game was the birth of Jaden Springer on this Celtics roster. As you can see, he played 20 minutes off the bench, which was the most minutes he had really been given this season. In other games, he had given a little bit more, but this was like his big impact moment in January. 2 for 6 from the field, 2 for 6 from 3, but both of those threes were very important. That last 3 being basically the game winner for this Boston Celtics team, and only was a +5, had some rebounds, was running around, doing everything for the Celtics team. Like I said, 2 rebounds only for this team, but was just active everywhere for this Celtics squad. Finished with 8 points and really signaled himself as a true player for this Celtics squad. And even though there are trade rumors surrounding Jaden Springer with his name still coming up in trades, which we broke down in a video recently today, there's fans, including myself, who are saying to not trade Jaden Springer and to really develop him with this Celtics team. But before we dive into the next game, let's look at the chat because we got some people in here. What's up, Alec from the Discord? He was first, and he's saying, "What's up, Bruce? World Be Free" is here saying, "What doesn't change everything for the Boston Celtics?" Well, this does change everything for the Boston Celtics. We're going to get into that in a little bit, World Be Free, as we look into the next couple of games, because we're going to be discussing some possible solutions and what this team really needs to do if they want to stay afloat like we've seen them. Yo, Brucey, what's good? What's up, T Snizzle? How we doing? Bruce told you to drink a Monster Energy drink. I drank my coffee, man. I drank my coffee earlier. I am wide awake and ready to go. So, Alec, I don't know what you're talking about. I am ready. Like I said, we got the Lakers game, like I mentioned, so let's dive into that one. And this is one a lot of Celtics fans would like to forget. We did see them, not play that great in this Lakers team, unfortunately. If we want to look at the team stats here, shot lights out, 34%, even though they did shoot, or 42%, excuse me, from 3 compared to the Celtics 34%. And this Lakers team is not a good 3-point shooting team, but early on, just Austin Reeves was just hitting daggers and daggers for this Lakers squad, and they were just very, very dominant. As you can see, 23 points for him. LeBron James dunked on Cornette in this game. Gabe Vincent was hitting big time shots, which once again was just a Celtic curse, just seeing that happen. And the Celtics, unfortunately, just couldn't really get anything going offensively in this game. Porzingis was the one real mismatch for this team, working alongside Jaylen Brown. But this game was basically over before the fourth quarter for the Celtics, playing against this Lakers squad. This is the one loss that they did suffer, and I knew there was going to be a loss thrown in there. But we do see them obviously bouncing back once again and beating the Dallas Mavericks here. And this was obviously a finals rematch. Not everybody was healthy for this Mavericks squad. As we see, there was no Luka Doncic and no Derrick Lively in this matchup. But in this game, the Celtics were very, very dominant versus this Mavericks squad. We got to see some juice brought back to this team as well, which was very nice. And everyone realistically contributed. Derrick White was a big X factor in this. Wasn't in the third quarter. Mr. Derrick White, after having a little bit of a shaky first half and having a rough couple games, shooting was exceptional when he was sharp shooting. I believe he had like 16 of his 23 points in that third quarter, which is just ridiculous to see, and was just super effective right out of the gate to get that Celtics swing, momentum, and continuing to go. And as we all know, Porzingis, like we mentioned, has really changed stuff for this Boston Celtics team. As since he's been brought back within this lineup, he's been very, very dominant within this Celtics core. And then we see, obviously, a little bit of a disappointing loss here versus the Rockets, which we saw just in their last contest on Monday here. And unfortunately for the Celtics in this one, it was just Amen Thompson and Dillon Brooks. And as we could see with Dillon Brooks here, 10 three-pointers. Jayson Tatum talking about how he did not expect that to happen. Amen Thompson having a game winner. This one was close. Celtics, unfortunately, got a little bit, not screwed, but lost momentum at the end, just got lost on defensive possessions. Luke Kornet was scored on both of those, even though he had a very, very solid game and was very effective throughout the whole start and basically until he got hurt and then had to leave and then come back. Ultimately, late in the game, he fell a little bit apart defensively, but Joe took some blame for it as well for the switch with him and Jaylen Brown. We saw Porzingis once again be very dominant in this game. Tatum had 0 points at halftime, but was very, very controlling in the third quarter when the Rockets went on a little bit of a run in this game. Peyton Pritchard stepped up, being a ice-cold shooter, as he was 5 for 6 for three-point range. But Joe went with a double big in this matchup, running Xavier Tillman and Neemias Queta, and that ruined a little bit of momentum with the Celtics as well. But as we all know, Joe Mazzulla is experimenting, having fun with this Celtics team throughout the regular season, and that's something to keep an eye on as well. Alex saying, "You look more awake than usual. Make me a coffee brew." Sounds good. I got you. We got the Nespresso machine downstairs. We can cook you up a nice little coffee. But now, like I mentioned, the Celtics over this last week, like I mentioned, over these 4 games that we missed, they went 2-2. But they did go 3-1 in that Western Conference road trip. But in the 4 games over the last week, they beat the Clippers and Mavericks, but lost to the Rockets and the Lakers. And this kind of like stagnant movement between the Celtics over the last couple of months has a lot of fans questioning some things. Obviously, we see them win back-to-back games, but there hasn't been a really steady momentum swing for the Celtics. They haven't won 3 straight since the new calendar year started, when they won versus the Raptors on New Year's Eve and then bounced back after the new year, beating the Timberwolves and Rockets. And we will see the Celtics gearing up to take on some other teams and hopefully be able to strike them down going into tonight's matchup versus the Chicago Bulls. And versus the Chicago Bulls team, like I mentioned, the Boston Celtics are going to have to play very solid basketball. For the injury report, if you want a little bit of an update, we do know that there are 3 Boston Celtics that are game time decisions: Al Horford, Jayson Tatum, and Sam Hauser. And Sam Hauser sat out in the Celtics' last performance alongside Al Horford. Now, Al Horford was a late scratch. He was scheduled to go for the Boston Celtics. Sam Hauser and Derrick White, were ruled out versus the Rockets. But a guy in Al Horford was then cleared, then was right before the game replaced with Luke Kornet in the starting lineup. So fans thought maybe he'll still get some run time, but off the bench. But unfortunately, Horford did not go. So it would be nice to see Horford get into the action tonight versus the Chicago Bulls. Nice against a big man in Vucevic. A little bit of a back to the basket kind of big, a little bit of a slower big. I'd love to see a guy like Al Horford really get up on him and really be able to match him up and limit his scoring potential versus the Celtics in the paint. Tatum is also a game time decision. Like I mentioned, hopefully he suits up, and Sam Hauser has been dealing with some injury stuff, but he is a game time decision. For the Bulls, they have no Torrey Craig, who has been a trade target for the Boston Celtics, so Torrey Craig will not have an audition game here for the Boston Celtics, but fans would love to see Torrey Craig suit up and play against this team to see what he could really bring, as a lot of fans would like to have Torrey Craig on this roster. And Zach LaVine, star player for the Chicago Bulls team, and a player that has also been mentioned in trade rumors, is also out. His estimated return date is February 4th. But Alec Richards is asking, when is the game? The game is tonight at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and the Celtics are 13.5-point favorites due to the fact that there is no Zach LaVine. And now, with knowing that, obviously the Bulls are going to be prioritizing scoring with Nikola Vucevic. But not only do the Bulls have Nikola Vucevic, but the Bulls have some Celtics killers. You know that kind of terminology. Obviously, the Boston Celtics have some guys on opposing teams that just go off on them, regardless of the night. They always strike hot versus the Celtics. And guys like Ayo and Kobe White are notoriously known for being able to do that versus the Celtics team in the past. So those are two guys I'd be keeping an eye on as well going into this game, as they're both, pretty dynamic scorers, can create their own shot, can catch and shoot, and can be very, very good. What is Tatum's injury? I do not know off the top of my head. Let me look up at the injury report here. I don't think it's anything like serious. I believe it's just like maybe Tatum's just gonna sit out tonight. That would be like, I don't think it's a long-term injury. Celtics, here we are. Tatum is a right knee. So yeah, basically what he was out for at the beginning of the season, right knee tendinopathy, and that basically means it. Yeah, the Bulls do have injuries. They have no Zach LaVine and they have no Torrey Craig tonight. So the Celtics, that's why the point spread is at 13.5. The Celtics should be able to beat the Chicago Bulls team. But like I said, with the Boston Celtics and being able to beat these teams, they have obviously gotten a little bit of a rut, but I do believe, like I've said this whole entire season, that it is just a rut. Not to overreact, not to freak out, not to get worried about this Celtics team, because they do stand top in the NBA still. If we want to look at the NBA standings real quick, if we want to pull that up, we can get that over here. The Celtics are still second place in the Eastern Conference. And yes, they're only one game ahead of the Knicks, but 4.5 games ahead a rising Bucks team, five and a half, or 5 games over the Bucks, 6 over the Pacers, and nowhere near getting touched by some of these teams towards the bottom. So realistically, the Celtics are at risk of being at worst the third seed in the Eastern Conference by the end of this month. And I still do believe that the Cleveland Cavaliers might go on a little bit of a cold streak. Yes, they've had a great regular season team, but the Celtics, I still believe, could catch this squad. They are only 5.5 games back. They just have to get on a big run, and Cleveland has to find a little bit of a rut themselves. And the Knicks also are a strong team, and I could see them battling with the Celtics back and forth ultimately. But I also see the Celtics being able to overpower them with their dynamic starting five, starting with basically everybody on this team. We've always seen them be able to come out and be dominant, and I am not going to turn my blind eye and think that they are not going to be. I definitely believe the Celtics team has the potential to still go to the NBA Finals and win the NBA Finals. They are the defending champions, and yes, they might need to make some smaller moves around the edges, might have to, potentially move off of one or two guys, but I don't think anything drastic is going to happen. I've seen a lot of people over on social media be talking about possibly trading Jayson Tatum, possibly trading Jaylen Brown, possibly trading all these big names, and I don't think that's happening this season, and I don't think it's going to be happening at all. I don't see them splitting Jayson or Jaylen up in the near future, and I definitely don't see them making a big move like Jrue Holiday or Kristaps Porziņģis or even Derrick White being moved. I don't think that's going to happen. If any of those moves were going to happen, I think it would happen in the off season, but I don't even think it would happen necessarily even this off season if that were to come. But like I said, let me know your guys' thoughts down below. If we want to keep looking forward at the Celtics schedule, pull that up as well. Just give me a second to see what other future games we have this week. We can dive in and look. Ooh, we got some good ones. Alrighty. Sounds good to me. All right, let's get into this. So, like I mentioned, Celtics went 2-2 last week. They got the Bulls tonight, which versus with no Zach LaVine should be a nice win and something that I'm looking forward to seeing. Versus the New Orleans Pelicans, we're obviously going to be on the road. The Celtics lost to the Pelicans last time, I believe they played them, or maybe I'm wrong. I know they played already once this season, and it was a very, very close game. I don't know. It's not going to pop up. Oh no, the Celtics beat the Pelicans. Oh yes. Okay, that was a close one. But yes, like I said, it was a very close game for the Boston Celtics and this Pelicans team versus a weak Pelicans team with no Zion Williamson. So this one might be a little bit of a close one, but I would hope the Celtics would win. And then they take on the 76ers, who obviously beat them on Christmas Day, but with possibly no Joel Embiid in this contest, that would be nice for the Celtics to pick up a victory. And then the Celtics have some two tough matchups: the Cavs and the Mavericks here, kind of lining up the end, which is I don't think the worst for the Celtics. I think the Cavs are, again, once another strong matchup. And in the playoffs, they were a strong matchup for the Celtics, too. But this regular season, with Kenny Atkinson as their new head coach, with their new revamped roster, they have been a very, very solid Eastern Conference team. And I won't lie, I was sleeping on them at the start. But now I fully respect this Cleveland Cavaliers team, and I think they will give the Celtics a little bit of a test. But if the Celtics are healthy, I'm not counting this team out for nothing. And same thing versus the Dallas Mavericks. They're obviously going to be looking for revenge, but that's next week. So looking at this week, we got the Cavs, we got the Pelicans, Sixers, and Bulls. 4 games in which I think ultimately the Celtics could possibly go 4-0 in these 3 games, which again would be very, very nice to see after obviously seeing them not be able to get a 3-game win streak since the start of the calendar year, since January 3rd. It would be nice to see the Celtics be able to capitalize on that. So beating the Bulls, beating the Pelicans, and beating the 76ers would be very, very successful. And then in that Cavaliers game, honestly, if it's a close game and they do lose, I'm still happy that they put up a dogfight. But if they want to catch them in the standings, like I was saying, that would be a great matchup to ultimately win. And we got a comment from VRWT saying, love your videos, man. Thank you, VRWT. I really do appreciate that. Like I said, we recently just hit a goal of 6,000 subscribers, and I posted about it on social media. I posted about it on here on the social page. I don't know how many of you guys use the social page, but like I said, I really do appreciate all of you guys that do show your support. I never thought that I'd get 6,000 subscribers on a channel like this, and it's just absolutely amazing to see all the love that you guys give in the comment section, on these live streams, popping out, hanging out, and it's just really, really great. And as a person who wants to do this full time, just seeing people actually support me makes me feel good and feels like I can actually do it. So once again, you guys make the engine run on this channel. You guys make it function. So once again, thank you guys so much for leaving all your nice comments and for showing your support and just for tuning in, regardless if it's for 2 or 3 minutes, if you stay here the whole stream. Regardless, I really, really do appreciate all the love that you guys ultimately do give to us over here on Celtics Digest, and show love to me in just other places as well if you follow me on my other content. But like I said, it's just very, very thankful. And hopefully the Celtics can repay those very thankful favors and give all of us fans a welcoming win tonight, like I said, versus the Chicago Bulls. They do have some intriguing players on the Bulls. We do see guys like Talen Horton-Tucker, who I saw um, Cameron Tabatabai talk about on the Celtics Wire as a possible trade target that he personally liked, and maybe that's someone to keep an eye on as well when watching this game. Kind of see how Talen Horton-Tucker kind of plays for this Bulls team, and see if you think he could be a nice little fit, because there's a lot of little intriguing pieces, and when looking at possible other trades and stuff like that with this team, I honestly think that the only 2 names that will be mentioned are Springer and Tillman. Tillman has kind of fallen out of the rotation, unfortunately, for the Celtics, and in the last stint he had with Neemias Queta, it just did not look great. And a lot of Celtics fans are just realizing maybe Xavier Tillman just isn't that guy for this team. The Celtics may look to possibly use his $2 million contract at the trade deadline to upgrade in the center market, to possibly add another big body, possibly a guy in Day'Ron Sharpe. I know his name has been thrown around the trade market, and he would be able to be tradable for Xavier Tillman. The only thing that gets tricky once again with trading a contract like Tillman is he makes like $2 million, and you have to salary match, and I don't know if you can include it in a deal. It's very, very complicated with how things are going. Tatum is playing tonight. Did the alert just get through, Sean? You are right. So Sean coming through clutch here. Appreciate you, Sean, with the update as I was going on this little rant here. Sam Hauser and Al Horford are both out tonight. So no Sam and no Al Horford, which is unfortunate. But Derrick White and Jayson Tatum are in. So the Boston Celtics will have the true starting 5 rolling together of Jrue Holiday, Derrick White, Jaylen Brown, Kristaps Porziņģis, and Jayson Tatum. 2 guys off the bench, and Al Horford and Sam Hauser will not be there, but they will have guys in Peyton Pritchard to come off the bench. Possibly this is another run to see how Jaden Springer can do, because not going to lie, Jaden Springer, when he plays against the Chicago Bulls, he's made some big impact plays, and that's where I really kind of saw him make his big defensive moves on DeMar DeRozan in one of those games. So maybe he can be a very, very impactful player for this Bulls team and maybe give even them an audition. Who personally knows? But I like to see guys like Luke Cornett get some action if no Al Horford's going, and Namish Keita as well. And like Matthew Souza just said right here, Walsh better play. I'd love to see Jordan Walsh get some minutes as well because he's a very intriguing player for this Boston Celtics team. And I want to see if he can find that role because I truly think he can be what O'Shea Brissett is. And I don't think 100% T, but I think can give us shades of what O'Shea Brissett brings and shades of what kind of Sam Hauser brings to this team, as he has a better three-point shot than obviously O'Shea Brissett, but he has that defensive tenacity, he has that aggressiveness similar to O'Shea Brissett. Yes, he might be a little bit more timid, but when Jordan Walsh sees a loose ball, he's going for it, he's diving for it, he's trying to make the right play, and those are the type of guys you want to see. Younger, rookie type second-year guys that are hungry, and when they get their name called, they are ready to make the right play and ready to get involved in the action right away. And that's what I like to see with Jordan Walsh when he gets his minutes. He takes the most advantage of his time when he is out there, and that's something you definitely cannot count out. He gives his heart and he gives it his all. And I want to see him see if he can expand into that role, because if he can, then I don't think they necessarily need another 3-and-D wing. We got VRWT. I'm not able to watch the game because I live in Illinois. Damn, do you not have league? Oh, because it's blacked out. Damn, that's so tough. I'm so sorry about that. That's tough. Life's Quiet Journey. You're welcome. Been here since 800 subs. I appreciate you, Life's Quiet Journey. And I always see you in the comments, always trying to pump people up to hit the like and hit the subscribe. So I really do appreciate it. But VRWT saying we will win. I hope we do win. I really do. I think we're gonna get. I'm feeling confident going into tonight. But one of the nights I was on stream, I think it was the night I was on stream with Eamon 2 weeks ago. I felt very confident going into that Raptors game, and they ultimately lost. So I'd love to see. I don't know I don't really know how to feel, but I do feel confident that they should get the job done. We don't need to trade. We need to be tougher after the break, and that's something that I think that's something that needs to be talked about as well, because a lot of people have liked what Jalen Springer could bring, and a lot of people think he could be. Me personally, this is what I think he could be. I think he could be another defensive piece behind Jrue Holiday to learn some good defensive instincts and be another defensive tool to kind of throw out there if he gets hurt, or with him getting a little bit older to kind of invest in, to kind of just develop behind him. But ultimately, with them being in the second apron, they might not have the money to be able to do that. So if they don't, then I'm willing. Then obviously I understand. But I think a guy like Jaden Springer, I will not be shocked, and I say this right now, I will not be shocked if a guy like Jaden Springer, if he gets moved to a team to where he can develop his offensive game, similar to a guy like Aaron Nesmith, I can see him being a consistent role player on an NBA franchise, if not a pretty solid bench piece. I'm a little late. What was a topic about KP in 3 words? So we haven't gotten into the KP stuff yet, but we were talking about just how he has been so dynamic realistically for this team so far, and how he's been super, super dominant with this squad since he's been back. We've seen Kristaps Porziņģis just been able to be leaps and bounds. We saw him in that Warriors game be super, super aggressive in the post, in the paint, in the Lakers versus the Clippers versus the Rockets. In these last stretch of games since he's been coming back since his ankle injury, realistically, since the new year really started off after that Rockets game, which was a little bit of a tester game for Porzingis, he has really, really changed his pace for this Celtics team. And I can dive into this a little bit as well, but I've been really, really pumped up about what he's been able to do, as a not only post player, but as a 3-point sniper, because Porzingis has been lethal from 3-point range as well. And that's just changes the dynamic for this Celtics squad. Being able to have a 7-footer, being able to not only swat passes, protect the paint, but be one of your best post players, but then be able to stretch out and be able to hit the tray. Come on. That's what you love to see. And that's what I love with Kristaps Porziņģis. Toe with Al? Yes, most likely. Walsh and Springer, baby, locked down. That's what I'm saying, Matthew. And I think the Celtics need some of that in this lineup as well. We see with this Celtics bench unit, they got players like Sam Hauser and Peyton Pritchard, who are a little bit geared more offensively. Then you got Keita and Cornett, who are, just really post scorers, lob threats, more realistically out there for rebounds. And Horford's a little bit more shooter / a little bit of a post player as well. But we need some more defensive pieces injected into that bench lineup. And I feel like guys like Walsh and Springer really bring that for the Celtics team. Springer and JD. I'd love to see JD. I just ultimately don't think he's just going to get a opportunity with this Celtic squad. There's just so many guys in front of him that if Jrue and if Derrick are playing and Peyton Pritchard is healthy and Jaden Springer is healthy, he can't realistically get any time. And that's why I think that if he's going to get an opportunity with this get an opportunity in the NBA, it will not be with the Celtic squad. It will be with another team, another franchise. And I believe whoever Alec, this is who messaged me here. I believe Alec um we talked about I mentioned this in the Discord, that I think a player like JD Davison could be nice on a team like Detroit, oh no, that was Isaiah Thomas, But JD Davison I think could be, I don't know. Where would JD Davison be a good fit? Like Brooklyn wouldn't be that bad because obviously they're pretty young. Toronto has some young people, but I don't want him going to Toronto. Um Minnesota has Dilly. San Antonio already has too much. Houston has too many young guys. Portland has too many young guys. Give me a second and let me think if I can find anywhere for JD. If you guys got any suggestions for JD, possibly finding a smart spot somewhere, let me know. JD deserves something. I agree. That's what I'm saying. I think he needs some minutes, but I don't believe he's going to get them with this Celtics squad. With some minutes and confidence, Joe doesn't do the best job instilling confidence. After Walsh's game, he was asked about it, and Joe said he only played because people were injured. I don't know if it's really that. He should have played and said, yeah, I got to go. Have a good stream. Thank you, VRWT. I appreciate you, man, for your support. Once again, thank you so much. He should have said, yeah, he played great, but not only plays down when guys are down. I don't know. Yeah, yeah, his turnovers are his hindrance, but his game has developed, which has been very, very solid from the Celtics team. You look at J.D. Davison from what he was drafted as a prospect, as a pretty solid defensive guard, player that was an inside scorer, mid-range scorer, but didn't have a three ball, didn't have the development of it. And that was his major question was, could he develop that outside shot to be able to get to the next level? And ultimately, he's been able to show that in his growth. And I understand like giving him a chance, but it'd have to be in like a blowout game. Like I don't think in the regular season you're gonna want to throw JD Davidson out because you see with this Boston Celtics team, even sometimes when they have guys like Peyton Pritchard or Sam Hauser or Luke Cornett or Namus Cade or even Xavier Tillman, they don't work and it just doesn't succeed with the meshing of the Celtics team. And I agree, JD does deserve that opportunity. But if guys that are higher up on the totem pole aren't performing, I don't necessarily know if he's going to be a guy that can be able to step out to do that. I think he would have had to prove that in practice or and prove that with this team. And it's tough, obviously, with the Celtics and Maine being a little bit further apart. I know with some other franchises, they're a little bit closer together. So that's why it's a little bit easier for some of those two-way guys to kind of get up onto the roster, but with the Celtics, it's a little bit more difficult. Alec, remember last year you had only 1K. Your channel grew when I watch you. I smile even though I'm struggling. No, no worries. It's all good. I'm glad you're. I'm sorry that you're struggling, my man, but I'm happy that you're grateful. And like I said, we were at like 1K last year, or we started off pretty hot. Like we've only been doing it for like a year and a half. So the fact that we were able to have 6K is just wild. I think we hit 4 or 5 in 1 year. So hopefully we can continue to chase those numbers. And when the playoffs start coming in, we'll be having some fun as well. We'll be breaking down a lot more with this Celtics team and just doing some more stuff. And in the playoffs, we might have some watch along live streams. I know a lot of people were fans of those, but we went away with them during the regular season. But for the postseason, if people would like those back, if I am available, we might be able to get some watch along live streams going for everybody to have some fun to break down the Celtics and possibly able to do those watch along with other creators on Digest Media because not only is there Celtics Digest, but there's a multiple other NBA digests around the league that we have here that we cover in our company. So if the Celtics played the Bulls, I could talk to Rico. Possibly Rico could be on. If they played the Heat, I remember last year, if you guys are fans, you remember Houston, we did some post-game videos together. Maybe me and Houston could get together if the Celtics play the Heat. We don't have every single team, and I don't know if every creator will be available. But we'll definitely be in some coordination, and definitely I think a lot of the other creators would find that very appealing as well. So it's definitely something that we could do. We play the Hawks. I know the Hawks creators, um, Chris, wanted to do those streams as well. So if there's anybody that is on Digest Media that possibly could hop on and do those streams, that would be fun. And I know we're doing a stream next month in February with Thunder Digest Bryson. We're going to be hopping on Thunder Digest and doing a stream with him. So for you Celtics fans that would want to go over there and hang out and see some more basketball discussion between the Celtics and Thunder, that would be a fantastic place as well. But like I said, Celtics going into this game, we have a little bit of an injury update as our boy Sean came through here and gave us the good news that Tatum is playing tonight. But like I mentioned, Boston Celtics versus Chicago Bulls, Tatum will be suiting up and getting ready to go. Alongside Derrick White, we will have that true starting five. No Al Horford and no Sam Hauser for the Boston Celtics, though, as they did not have them last game as well. We'd like to see Peyton Pritchard be a nice three-point scorer off this bench team, similar versus in that Rockets game. We're going to need that dynamic three-point shooting with Derrick White coming back to this lineup. Hopefully we do see that, and hopefully Jayson Tatum scores before the end of halftime. But like I said, you guys have been absolutely fantastic coming to the stream. I really do appreciate everybody that was in here. We're going to be signing off. Game time does start in an hour. But for all you guys that want to stay up to date on everything on this Celtics team, like I said, make sure to hit the likes, make sure to hit the subscribe button. You guys were flooding these comments once again. These weekly live streams have been really, really fun, and every time we keep doing these live streams, I see more and more people come in, similar people, more people type in the chat, and they're just getting more and more involved, which I love to see as well, because that gives you guys more conversation and you guys more fun as well. If you guys do want to join the Discord, make sure to check the description on the videos, as the Discord link is pinned there. That's where Alec, Rob Version, Celtics Roblox, amongst many other supporters of Celtics Digest, are in there chatting, having fun, discussing this Celtics team. So if you want to stay up to date, have some side conversations, you can join us as well, and we can talk about it. Like I said, you guys have been absolutely fantastic. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Have a great rest of your night, and hopefully the Celtics win. See you guys later.